up, fight fans, and welcome to a new edition of the ongoing series Corona Chronicles. For this edition, I have the chance to get some UK perspective on the pandemic's effect on the sport and the talents in it. And that man is Cal Pacino himself. Cal Ellenor, Mr. Pacino, sir. Thank you for the time as we talk this very different and uncomfortable world we all are living in right now.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for getting us on, mate. I appreciate it.
Now, talk to me about the latest goings on in England and the stuff with the virus. I saw that Prime Minister Johnson laid down the stay-at-home mandate for the country. Both our governments, at least in my opinion, have seemed to drag their feet a little bit when it comes to dealing with this, hoping they could kind of get through things with half measures. That's not going to work. Although here in the U.S., I still don't think people are taking it as seriously as they should. I mean, I'm in New York. It's rough out here, but I don't think a lot of places still get it. Do you feel they waited, your government, to way too long for the lockdown? And what is the allowed movement for you in terms of leaving your house right now?
Yeah, maybe they did wait too long. I feel like they're doing the right things now, but I don't know if it's too late or not. We'll have to see in a few weeks' time to see what the kind of contamination of it is. You know, if they've managed to keep it under wraps or what. But basically, I don't think people here knew it was as severe as what it actually is.
Yeah.
I feel like when it first got, especially in the northeast where we are, you kind of like there wasn't many cases of it. Is like London and stuff like that. Like as it was meant to be a lot worse there, but it's only recently like started to get really bad here. Like this, the numbers like flying up here every day now.
Here too.
So our gyms have the gym I grapple at, Northeast Jiu-Jitsu's been shut for a couple of weeks now. TFT's been shut for over a week now, and we've just been told it's minimum of 4 weeks. All the gyms have got to be shut. That's what we've just heard there. So nobody's training. We can't see anyone. The basic situation is at the moment is we're allowed outside for like if you need to go to the shop for kind of vital stuff like baby food or your essentials that way. Or you're allowed to go out maybe for a run or say for a long walk or something like that. But you're just not supposed to be. You're supposed to be self-isolating. You're not supposed to be seeing people from other families or friends or whatever like that. So it's the last few days has definitely got a lot more intense here. You see the supermarkets are getting a lot more. Like obviously, like at first it was like kind of as if it wasn't really relevant, and now it's like crazy. You know what I mean? Like it's a strange time that we're in, and I feel like we are just kind of getting the. I think we are kind of a little bit behind everywhere else as well, so I feel like it's going to get a lot worse here before it gets better.
Yeah, I mean, I feel pretty much the same exact way here, too. I mean, as our understanding of the virus continues to grow, it's becoming clearer that the elderly, people with pre-existing health issues and stuff like that, they're not the only ones at risk. I mean, children have gotten sick or died here in the U.S., and the virus can lead to pneumonia, so anybody of any age can get that, and that's very dangerous to get. In the last couple of weeks, you know, the gyms closed, as you mentioned, were you at all worried about training with certain teammates, about yourself? You know, concerned maybe one of them have it, maybe I have it, I'm not getting it. You know, like the symptoms are so not obvious at first, or was more information as time gone by? And were you one of those people like, you know what, maybe it is serious? Did your opinion change, or even 2 weeks ago you're like, this is bad, we need to take this shit seriously?
Yeah, like a couple of weeks ago, like I didn't really think it would have kind of. Well, what we got told was at first it was more so like it was like elderly and kind of people who already had health
Yeah.
complications that it was an issue for, and if you were younger and more like kind of busier and stuff like that, it wouldn't be as much as of an issue. So we were still training, wrestling with each other, training hard. You know what I mean? Obviously, fight coming up and stuff like that. So we started realistically 8 weeks out was when we meant to be starting the camp, and then obviously the more kind of the more cases were heard about it, the more relevant it was that it was actually severe, and there's like obviously younger people dying of it now, and everyone's at risk, and it's not even so much as being like kind of like you or me saying, oh, we get it and it might not affect us, but it's the people we could then pass it on to. And obviously I've got two kids myself at home, obviously me fiance Hannah and stuff like that, and it's like, and obviously me dad, and so I haven't been able to visit my dad, and it's just been a strange time. We're not really sure. Like obviously they haven't even said when the gyms are going to open back up. They said in 4 weeks' time that's when it'll be assessed. That's not even saying in 4 weeks' time. 4 weeks' time it could be worse,
Yeah.
So we don't. It's kind of just playing it by ear and seeing kind of where we can get, but it's not looking good. They're talking here. They're talking about schools not going back till
Yep.
September.
Here too.
The
Yep.
Olympics. Yeah, the Olympics is just being pushed forward a year. Cage Warriors the same night as my fight. That's now being postponed.
Mm.
So and nobody really knows kind of what's happening. It's not like I can even get a training partner to come into my house and do some training or anything, even
Yeah.
pads in the back, nothing, because it's still the same. It's you know what I mean. So it's about just doing the right thing now, and I guess just putting everything else on the back burner and just kind of like letting this thing ride itself out. No matter how long it takes.
And I'm glad you mentioned that. I didn't know about that. The Cage Warriors event same day has been postponed because I was going to ask about your event next because it's still a ways away. It's far enough away where we can hope. Okay, things might change. It's all of April still in front of us, but then again, it's still in that area where a lot of experts will say, "Hey, we need like 8 to 12 weeks and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
and, and stuff like that."
You know what? If it had been the first time that this fight was supposed to happen, I would have been like devastated now and beside myself. And it's been that long that I've been training for to fight James, and it has been that much back and forth, and there's been that much gone on in the time. Like now, I just think, you know what? I'm not even bothered. Like it is what it is. If I get a fight him, awesome. If not, we're gonna fight one day.
Yeah.
He wants to fight me as much as I want to fight him, and I think a lot more people are interested in the fight now. So regardless when it is, it's going to happen. And obviously, who's to say? Like obviously, if things clear up, then they might say that it's still a possibility that it can happen. I don't know. The only thing is, it's just like I think he's stuck out in Dubai.
Mm.
Um, I don't know if he's still. That's what I heard. I don't know if it's true, but I know he was out in Dubai. But the gyms are going to be shut out there. All the gyms, because I was thinking about just jumping a flight to Thailand and trying to train out there for a while. Now all the gyms, my friends actually stuck in Thailand. Now everywhere's shut.
Wow.
My friends actually stuck out there and you can't get back. So everywhere's shutting now. I think everywhere's kind of taking it seriously now. And I mean, even if so, say this next 4 weeks pass, and then what? Then they're going to say 4 weeks for a camp, because it's 7 weeks Saturday. So I don't know. I honestly don't know. Like it's crazy. It's so much in the air. I don't even None of the meal prep companies can deliver anything
Yeah.
like that. So now at the minute it's just kind of just getting through each day. Like I'm at home now and I've just nipped out there to get all the shopping for the kids and stuff like that, and just trying to make everything kind of happen at home. So I guess we'll just have to see what happens in the coming week.
Of course, this fight being postponed would be a financial setback because you gonna get a payday now. Might not get the payday, but beyond that, this fight more than anything is a great opportunity to lift your status in the company and the sport because James does have a lot of attention around him. Like you told me when we talked here in New York, winning this could get you those opportunities that you really want in other opponents. Is there a fear that if this fight gets postponed, which would be not the first time, you might end up getting paired up with somebody different on another card, not in the main event? Is that more of a worry than even the payday you're losing out on this career opportunity?
No, you know what it is. I feel like if it had been the first time, maybe
Yeah.
that would be the case. But now I feel like kind of more people kind of know who I am, and there's more kind of interest on my part now. I feel like a lot more people
Yeah.
do know who I am now. I feel like if this fight doesn't end up happening, I think I probably will end up getting another opponent this time round, and I think they'll get him someone else just to kind of like
Yeah.
give us a new direction and then see what happens in them fights and then maybe put us back together. I don't know. But to be honest, I genuinely don't even care. Like at first, like yeah, like I was to not fight James. I was like, oh, finally an opportunity to fight someone kind of who
Yeah.
would elevate my career a lot in beating him. But now I just feel like nah, it doesn't really matter now. I feel like, especially the company are definitely invested in me now. I feel like they're pushing me a lot more now, and I feel like whether the fight doesn't happen and they get it someone else or not, it doesn't matter because eventually I will people will know who I am in the organisation, and I will get the big fights regardless of James or not. Like James was saying before, oh, I need him and he doesn't need me, and I don't feel like that's the case. You know, I feel like me skills will get us to where I believe I should be anyway. So if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. If it does, awesome. If not, I'm not really arsed, and I'll fight him one day. We can't be in the same organisation, the same weight class, and still and be kind of similar records and stuff like that, and not end up having our cross paths. So passes,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Our paths cross. So um, regardless, it's going to happen one day.
Now I'm
So
glad you
I'm
also
easy.
brought up training and preparing, and it's because I've talked to fighters that were on cards that were canceled, and it's frustrating for them. But you are in that group now that we're starting to get to as the weeks go on, that are supposedly still scheduled, still booked, and kind of in flux. But like you mentioned, it's a problem all over the country. Gyms everywhere closed because MMA is just the opposite of social distancing and 6 feet and all these kinds of things. So, like I talked to Cody Stamen, he was supposed to fight in the UFC Columbus card. He was talking about making a makeshift gym at home and stuff like that. So, what are you doing? Because you mentioned like even training with people with pads, and stuff like that. It's you got to worry a little bit. What are you doing? Because you have to keep staying in shape. You are preparing for a fight. You have to stay on diet. What are you doing if your meal plans can't come? How are you staying on your diet? All those various things from home. How are you doing it?
Just trying to get on with it, you know what I mean? Like today, I went for a walk in the countryside and ended up doing like pull-ups on a tree. That's mad, isn't it? Doing pull-ups on the tree and stuff like that. That was pretty cool, actually. I enjoyed it. I've just been learning how to do them one-legged
Oh,
squats, like where you sit all the way down to the floor but don't touch the floor and then
yeah.
bottom. So I've been trying them, so I've got a bit of a gas on doing them. I've been riding my bike a lot. Came off the other day, wrecked me back.
All right, all right.
Pretty bad. Burst both tires as well. I don't know if you saw it on my Instagram story. But it is what it is. I'm just trying
Yeah.
to get over it, and just say what it is. We'll just see what happens, you know what I mean? Obviously, it's not ideal having a big fight and not being able to do half of the things. Like, I mean, I want to
Yeah.
grapple, you know what I mean? I enjoy, even just day outside of camp, I love to grapple, and it's something that's obviously like the last
Yes.
thing that's probably going to be allowed to be done because
Yep.
it's body to body and it's about isolation now and not doing that. And that I feel like in the few weeks, or say even in 4 or 5 weeks time, whatever, when they see people can do things again, I feel like gyms will be the last thing that goes back. I think it'll be essential things first, maybe possibly schools first, then other things, and then it'll be gyms. I feel like gyms will be the last thing that's allowed to go back
Yeah.
for that reason. You know what I mean? For that reason, the body to body kind of thing.
Yeah. Yep.
Sweating and breathing in same.
I'm
So we'll
hoping the
see.
fight still happens, and we'll hold off, like I mentioned, off camera on asking particular stuff about the matchup itself until another time. So instead, I just want to learn more about you because you are still very in very early days of your career, only 10 fights in professionally. What is your personal journey
Yep.
to this sport? Did you practice martial arts as a kid at all? What path did you walk that made you say, "Yes, I want to fight in a cage for a living. This is what I want to do now."
Jim, it's probably really bad. Basically, the thing was, I always liked boxing. Um, I was always a fan of boxing. All the old fights, all the old Tyson fights, and Sugar Ray Leonard and stuff like that. I used to watch them all the time, and basically just got addicted to boxing from a young age. I found a gym in Sunderland where I could go, and straight away I was sparring. 12-year-old, started fighting, got my medical
Wow.
card when I was 12, fought, won national titles. Then basically I got had 26 fights. I turned senior, have senior fights, and then I stopped training. I was just ticking over, just keeping fit. And I used to always watch MMA with my dad, the early UFCs. When my dad would come back from certain shifts at work, there'd sometimes be like repeats from UFC events on late at night, Chuck Liddell's and stuff like that, like them fights on. So we'd watch them, and my dad would always get them on and we'd watch them. And I never knew anywhere where you could train MMA at all. I didn't even know it was a thing in the UK. You know what I mean? I didn't even know it was a sport that
Yeah.
people I did. It was just something I watched on telly, and I was kind of coming from a boxing background. I would always just like watch it and be like, oh, I didn't really know what the grappling aspect of it was. And then as I was just keeping fit in the gym in Sunderland, and basically Andrew Fisher used to teach my coach. Now he used to teach a class in the back room. There it was like a tiny little cupboard that
Wow.
used to be left. It was just a training like where all the gym kit would go, the gloves and stuff like that. But he'd matted it out. It was tiny, and he had a couple of guys in there who would teach MMA, jiu-jitsu lessons and stuff like that. So like one of my friends actually started training with him and invited us down one time. I would always see them coming in and warming up and stuff like that, and I'd see them and then I'd leave, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a go, and I went and I grappled. I did a grappling class, and instantly I fell in love with it. From being somewhere where I'd kind of had a number of fights and fought internationally and stuff like that, and then kind of like being at that kind of level, and then it being into a new sport where I was like so bad, I was absolute dog shit, and getting killed off everyone. And I was like, and there was just a class. There was maybe even 4 or 5 people there, like just like proper nerds as well. It was like, so I just loved it. I loved everything about it. It was like completely new, and I thought like I just got hooked straight away. It was like something that I was hooked on learning, but I was so terrible at, and then it's just like kept trying and trying, and then it was just an addiction, and then I just kept training, and then Fisher basically like kind of crafted my style or a style. He said, look, like if you'd be interested in fighting for us, we'll train you up so you can have an MMA fight. We'll change your style a bit, so you're not like
Yeah.
predominantly boxing based. Your stance is a lot shorter. You're not getting that leg kicked off. You're not getting taken down. Not getting If you do get taken down, you can get brought up or stop yourself from getting submitted. And that's pretty much all we drill. Like that was my first camp, getting ready like that and changing my style and adapting it. And I ended up fighting a grappler who was tough as hell. And had an absolute war. And from there, like I was just hooked, and I won every like I had it was semi-pro rule set back in the day, so I had like 4 semi-pro fights and then turned pro and just started
Was
fighting
there,
from there.
because you mentioned like coming up as you got into the sport, you weren't even sure there were MMA gyms really in the country. So were there fighters in major promotions that you did idolize on some level, that you saw them do it and representing the country and representing the England in Britain in the sport, go, oh shit, he can do it, okay, yeah, this is for real? Was it somebody?
Yeah, in a sense, like obviously, like my coach was still an active fighter at the
Okay.
time, so he's still fight active now. He's just recently
Oh
re-signed with Bellator.
wow.
He's just
Okay.
not fought for a couple of years. He got an injury and he's finally coming back off the injury. So hopefully we'll get to see him in the Bellator Europe cage this year and see what goes on there. He's fought for Bellator before. He's fought in
Wow.
America a couple of times. But basically, yeah, that was it. So I would watch his fights and see that, and then obviously
Okay.
Ross Pearson,
Yep.
who was in the UFC, he would train with us, and obviously I saw him fighting on UFC cards and stuff like that. So I seen the route was there was possible. It's just obviously from where I'm from in the northeast, there's not many people get many opportunities. Not many people, I think, will get kind of overlooked, especially in the UK as well. The northeast always seems to get overlooked by some other region. It was always the same when I
Wow.
boxed as well. I beat some really high level kids. I would beat them, and then the next year they'd be boxing internationally for
Wow.
England, and I'd schooled them. You know what I mean? I would list names now, like a couple of names, who I beat convincingly, and then they went on and did
Wow.
loads of stuff in boxing. It was like just stuff like that. Like it's always the same. I feel like the northeast always kind of got overlooked. So that's kind of why I want to do so well. That kind of pushes us on, because I feel like if I can make a big impact in from being where I'm from, I can open doors for other people, young kids, especially in Sunderland, the northeast in general, but especially in Sunderland, where I'm from, like council estates and stuff like that, and show people like there is a way to kind of get to these levels if just by working hard and believing in yourself, because obviously we just come from nothing really. We haven't got like everything. We're not loaded. We haven't had some superstar come from our gym who's being like at the
Yeah.
highest level in the world, who everyone knows of, and then everyone else gets better sponsors and knowing that way. We don't get that. We are here because we've worked hard and we've just stuck in, and that's just what, in my opinion, what being a fighter is about. Just determination and believing in yourself. So if I can do it, anyone can, and I just want to make it happen for myself and
What,
for others.
aside from training, what are the things you're going to be doing to keep busy? I know, with the whole lockdown going on, are you catching up on movies, TV shows you wanted to see for a while? Are you reading? Are you taking up new hobbies? What the hell are you doing? I mean, I know kids. I mean, the kids, obviously that's going to take up a lot of time too and drive you crazy. But
Yeah.
when they're sleeping,
Uh,
what are you trying to do to keep yourself busy?
yeah. I like. You know what? I like my guitar. I haven't played my guitar for a little while because I've been so busy. So I'll probably get me guitar back out. I've got an MPC, like a computer that plugs into my laptop to make music on. And I like doing stuff like that. But yeah, definitely. I've been watching loads of fight footage. That's pretty much all I do anyway. To be honest, I just watch fights all the time. But I've been watching loads of stuff on telly. I love watching crime
Yes.
documentaries and stuff like that. I feel like interested in that kind of stuff. So just trying to catch up on some stuff like that, really. Yeah, and obviously spend time with the kids. I've been going out for some pretty long walks with Jesse and Tommy down the beach, and just doing cool stuff like that. Like, it's fun, you know what I mean? And obviously when I'm training morning and training night, sometimes we haven't got the time to do all that kind of stuff. So it's been a kind of blessing as much as it's been a curse, this whole lockdown thing, because I've been able to spend a lot of time
Things,
with them.
we're all bummed out, and it's kind of a depressing time, and all the news is difficult. But let's be selfish. Let's be selfish for fun. We need some fun and stuff like that. So, there's a lot of things we're talking about, fights being postponed here in the U.S., NBA, MLB, NFL, or NHL postponed, March Madness, movies, Fast and Furious 9 pushed back a year, Black Widow pushed back. One of my favorite shows last week tonight, John Oliver, he's from England. He mentioned that one of his favorite soccer teams was like a few months from winning the championship, and now that's on hold and everything. Like, is
Yeah.
there something that you were like, fuck coronavirus, man? Damn, I can't watch this now because of you. Like, I miss this. Is there something you miss right now?
Yeah, obviously the fights is the main thing. Like, I feel like that's probably what I spend most of my time on in general. I just really enjoy watching fights. Like, it's been cool because I've been watching a lot more of the older fights lately, so that's been cool. I seen that the UFC put Shogun and Hendo
Ah,
number
nice.
two on the other day, so I watched it again. But the first one's my
Mm-hmm.
favorite. That's the best fight. That's the best MMA fight of all time, in my opinion. I don't think anything will ever top that. I feel like that for me that's the best fight ever. So hopefully they put that one on, because I would watch that every day, literally every day before I went out to train. I would watch that fight. Like, it's sick. So mostly just watching fights. But like live fights, obviously, the UFC. Sometimes when I can work it out, I try and stay up for them. Try and get a little bit of sleep and then wake up and watch some of their cards. So that's a bit of a
Yeah.
stinker that's not happening lately.
Uh,
But
Now,
that's it
I'm
mostly.
always a big fan of nicknames, and I've been told you don't give yourself often your own nickname. It usually comes from a friend. I've heard it come from promotions. I've heard it come from coaches. Now, Cal Pacino. Now, I love Al Pacino, so Cal Pacino is right down my alley. I love Cal Pacino. Now, tell me the story of how one becomes Cal Pacino.
Basically, it's a long story, but like, it's
We
not
got
really.
time. We got time.
I've got a big. I've got a. I don't know if you can see. I'll try and find out where the camera is. I've got a big scar down the middle of
Uh-huh.
my face
Yeah,
here.
yeah, 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 yeah. We see the
Can you
skin
see that?
change. Yeah, the color change.
Got a big. I've got a big scar down the middle of my eyes here, in between my eyes, and one of my friends, when I was a kid, used to always call it Scarface. If we were arguing, he would call us it, and I hate this. I hate this. But it was just one of them things, and it just Scarface, Al
Yeah.
Pacino, and it was just something that ended up just becoming the fight name that I ended up just going with. You know what I mean? Like, it would just from that, because when I first started fighting, I didn't want to have, funnily enough, I didn't want to have me real name, Carl Elnor, because at the time, if I felt like if people put Carl Elnor into Google to see if they could find any of your fights or anything, all this whole boxing, junior ABAs and boys clubs and stuff like that would come up, and fights, potentially information about fights that I'd had. So at the time, I was primarily a striker who was a kind of anti-grappler and anti-wrestler who would just try and defend, take down, sprawl and brawl style, and just
Yeah.
try and strike. So I didn't want people to know that I had a boxing
Mm.
background. I felt like if they kind of looked that up, they would automatically
Yeah,
try
yeah.
and take us down. Because obviously back then as well, when we were fighting semi-pro rules, we used to fight in pro gloves anyway. Now they have the big dome gloves, but we didn't have that. We used to fight in four ounce things. So I felt like as soon as people know you can strike, they would initially just straight
Yeah.
away just try and take you down. And I didn't want to have them kind of fights. I wanted a chance to clock somebody first, you know what I mean, before the end of the, because
Yeah,
that always
yeah.
ends up happening anyway. As soon as I punch somebody, I always try and take us down anyway. That's exactly how I see the fight
Mm-hmm.
with James going. As soon as I clock him one, I feel like he'll try and take us down. But Yeah, so that was it. So kind of like the Scarface thing, just worked. I thought, right, there's a name that kind of can go with that, and people's not going to know my real name, and that was it. And that was just kind of it just started from there, and then it was just a bit of fun really at the start, and then when I fought in South Africa, they loved it. You know what I mean? They didn't even refer to it as Cal Ellenor at all. Everyone just out there would just see Cal
Wow.
Pacino, and in the comments after a fight or whatever, or when a fight of mine got announced out there, they just got me. Especially what massively helped as well was my first fight in South Africa. I was undefeated at the time. Went out there and fought the guy who's been out there for ages, who for the love out there as well. He's from like a family of
Mm.
fighters out in South Africa, in Johannesburg, and they love him out there. And I went out there and I bashed him up. I fought at altitude,
Wow.
6,000 foot above sea level or whatever it is. I took it on short notice. Went out there and I felt like I didn't even get out of first gear. Nothing really happened in the fight. It was a decent fight, but I
Mm.
felt like I won comfortably. I dropped him. I hit him with one shot in the third round, just one right hand, and dropped him on his back and stuff like that. And I felt like I won easily. And pretty much everyone who's got eyes actually
Yeah.
thinks the same. You know, it's on YouTube. And they give that the
Oh.
decision to the other guy, and there was hell on about it, you know. Like I got still got paid as if I won and stuff like that, and that just it kind of elevated my career massively because everyone felt so bad about the decision. Everyone kind of got behind us, and that just kind of just boosted my profile, and that just fast tracked us out there basically. And I said I just got a bigger name out there straight away, and then that kind of just stuck and just built and built and built. Then my profile at home got bigger, and then it just kind of just went from then. And that's when Bellator had already offered us two fights, both on short notice. Once they offered us a fight on 10 days' notice ages ago, and I took it, and then never ended up getting the fight. And then another time for a Dublin card, actually, they offered us a fight on like 2 weeks' notice, and I took that, and that one
Wow.
never happened either. So I think kind of they'd been interested. And then obviously when my career at AFC was done, they were kind of like, look, we've got a fight for you. We'll come to Newcastle. We've got the Cage Warriors World Champion here coming over. He's moving up to bantamweight. Is that a fight you'd be willing to take? If you're willing to take this fight, we'll give you a multi-fight deal. And that was it. I said, yeah, definitely, 100%. Why not? You know, and I wanted to challenge, and I already knew who Nathan Grayson was, and I'd already seen his fights, and I watched him fight Arnold
Mm-hmm.
Allen, who's in the UFC. I watched him beat Sam Creasy when he beat Sam Creasy for the Cage Warriors belt. So I already knew who he was, so I was up for it straight away because I knew it was going to be a hard test. So, and that was it. Taking that fight and winning that just led us on to the way I am